Most people don't have a packing problem, they have a decision problem. Too many travel gadgets, too much hype, and half of it never gets used. Hey, Johannes from GearUpYourLife here, and after part 1 of this Real Travel Essentials video passed 350,000 views, I wanted to do a second one. No repeats, no filler. Just more travel essentials that actually make traveling easier in 2026. Before we talk about small upgrades, let's fix the foundation first. And the very first real essential in this video is something every traveler needs, a solid carry-on. Because no matter how good your gadgets are, if your luggage doesn't work, the whole trip starts falling apart. For me, one of the most important travel essentials is good luggage, and my go-to brand for that is Level 8. They've nailed that balance between premium build quality and fair pricing, with a clean, minimal design that feels built for real travel, not just for looks. For this video, I'm using the Level 8 Gibraltar 20 carry-on, which is their aluminum carry-on, and you immediately notice the difference. The aluminum shell feels rigid and protective, the corners are reinforced, and everything about it feels solid and well thought out. It's the kind of suitcase that gives you confidence when you're traveling a lot. The spinner wheels are smooth and quiet even when the bag is fully packed, and the telescopic handle feels sturdy with zero wobble, which is something you really start to appreciate after a few trips. Inside, the layout is clean and practical, with compression panels that keep everything in place and make packing feel organized instead of stressful. Now, I'll be honest, aluminum luggage is an investment, and if that feels too expensive for you, which I totally understand, there's a great alternative. Alongside this, I also use the Level 8 luminous textured carry-on 20, which for me is one of the most important travel essentials overall. For around $160, it's made from Macrolon polycarbonate. It's lightweight, extremely durable, and the textured finish hides scratches really well. If aluminum isn't for you, this one honestly works for almost everyone. I also have a full in-depth review of it linked below. So a big thank you to Level 8 for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel, and you can get, of course, 10% of both products with the link below. So now let's keep going with the rest of the real travel essentials. Our second real travel essential is a foldable day pack, because no matter how good your carry-on is, you still need something lightweight for day trips, grocery runs, or exploring a city hands-free. My current favorite for that is the Matador Freefly 16 packable backpack. It's one of those bags that completely disappears in your luggage, but becomes incredibly useful once you arrive. What I really like about it is that it doesn't feel like a flimsy emergency backpack. It's made from lightweight, water-resistant material. The shoulder straps are surprisingly comfortable, and it holds its shape even when it's fully packed. I use it for everything from city walks to beach days, hikes, or quick coffee runs with my laptop and a jacket inside. And when you don't need it anymore, you just pack it back down to almost nothing and throw it into your carry-on. It usually sits around $70 to $80, which honestly feels more than fair for something this light, durable, and versatile, especially considering how often you end up using it once you're on the road. It's one of those simple pieces of gear that solves a real problem, without adding weight or bulk to your setup. Our next essential is the Orbit Key Tech pouch, because once you travel with more than one cable or charger, loose tech gear gets annoying fast. What I like about this pouch is how structured and minimal it is. Everything has its place: cables, power bank, mouse, adapters, without turning into a bulky mess inside your bag. It opens wide, stands on its own, and makes setting up your workspace in a hotel room or cafe quick and stress-free. No digging around, no tangled cables. Price-wise, it usually sits around $70, which might sound like a lot for a pouch, but if you travel often, this is one of those small upgrades that just makes your daily routine smoother. It's not flashy, it's not a gimmick, it's just a clean, well-designed piece of gear that you end up using every single day. Our next essential is a good power bank, and most of you know I'm a huge fan of the Anker Mago series. It's probably still my personal favorite for everyday travel, but for people who need more power, or who are traveling with just one power bank for 2 people, the Anu 27,000 mAh 140 watt power bank is the one. This thing is a beast. It's powerful enough to charge not just phones and tablets, but even laptops, which makes it perfect for long travel days, remote work, or airports with terrible outlets. Despite the size, it's surprisingly well balanced, charges fast, and holds enough power to get you through multiple days without hunting for a socket. I especially like it for shared travel setups, where one power bank needs to handle everything. Price-wise, it normally sits around $80, and while I'm recording this video, it's actually down to about $60 on Amazon, which makes it a really solid deal for the amount of power you're getting. If you want maximum flexibility and don't want to think about battery life at all, this is one of those upgrades that just gives you peace of mind on the road. Our next essential is a shoe pouch, and this one fits the season perfectly, especially right now, with fall and winter travel coming up when shoes get wet, dirty, or covered in salt and mud. I'm using the Sea to Summit shoe pouch because it does exactly what it's supposed to do without adding bulk. It keeps dirty shoes completely separate from your clean clothes, which sounds simple, but makes a huge difference when you're traveling. Now, to be fair, this isn't something I'd bring on every single trip. If you're doing a short summer city trip or backpacking in Southeast Asia with one pair of sandals, you probably don't need it. When you're traveling with 2 2 or even 3 pairs of shoes, sneakers, boots, maybe gym shoes, this becomes incredibly useful, especially in colder months when everything outside is wet or dirty. It packs flat, weighs almost nothing, and saves you from opening your bag and finding half your clothes covered in street dirt. Not the most exciting gadget, but one of those quiet essentials you'll be very happy to have. Our next essential is a travel pillow, and this is actually one of my most recent purchases. I've been on the hunt for the best classic travel pillow for a long time, and I honestly think I've finally found it. I'm using the Saneni neck pillow, and what I like about it is how simple and effective it is. It supports your neck properly without forcing your head into a weird position, which makes a huge difference on long flights or train rides. It's soft, comfortable, and works well whether you're sitting upright or slightly leaning to the side. No complicated straps, no over-engineered design, just solid support where you actually need it. And the best part is the price. It usually sits around $21, which makes it one of those rare travel items that's both affordable and genuinely useful. If you've been struggling to sleep while traveling, this is one of those small upgrades that can completely change how you arrive at your destination. Our real travel essential number 7 is the Satechi on-the-go 7-in-1 USB-C hub. This is one of those gadgets you don't think about until you really need it. Hotel desks, airport lounges, co-working spaces, half the time the ports you need are either missing or in the worst possible place. I've been using the Satechi on-the-go 7-in-1 USB-C hub, and functionality-wise, it's honestly excellent. You get HDMI, USB-A, USB-C, SD card slots, everything you need to turn a laptop into a proper travel workstation within seconds. What I really like is how compact and well built it feels. It doesn't feel flimsy, it doesn't overheat easily, and it just works. Whether you're connecting to a hotel TV, transferring footage, or setting up for work on the road. Now, I'll be honest, the price is a bit on the higher side. At around $60, it's not cheap, and I do think it's slightly expensive for what it is. But if you travel with a laptop and rely on it for work, this is one of those tools that quickly earns its place in your bag. I like it enough that I'll actually do a full in-depth review on my review channel in January, so if you want a deeper breakdown and long-term thoughts, keep an eye out for that. Our next real travel essential is the JBL Clip 5. I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. Bigger speakers are usually unnecessary when you're traveling. This is my favorite size for a travel speaker. It's small, lightweight, clips onto your backpack, and still sounds surprisingly good for what it is. I use it in Airbnbs, hotel rooms, at the beach, or just hanging out somewhere with friends. It's loud enough to set a vibe, but not so big that it becomes annoying to carry around. And fun fact, I actually lost mine at some point, or one of my friends accidentally kept it. I'm still not entirely sure which one it was, but that honestly tells you everything, because even after that, this is still my go-to travel speaker. If you want something simple, compact, and genuinely useful on trips, this one just works. So, our 9th real travel essential is the Matador Flat Pack Soap Bar Case. And some of you might remember, just last month I said this is a really good gadget, but not necessarily an essential. And yet, here it is. Because I want to explain why my opinion changed. I think I honestly underestimated how this thing works. Or better said, I didn't use it the way it's meant to be used. I rarely travel with actual soap bars, so for me it felt a bit unnecessary at first, but a lot of you pointed something out in the comments, and you were right. This isn't just for soap bars. The material is waterproof on the outside and breathable on the inside, which means it's perfect for protecting shampoo bottles or solid shampoo from leaking, especially when pressure changes during flights. I've started using it to separate anything that could potentially leak, soap, shampoo, even small toiletry bottles, and it just works. It dries fast, doesn't smell, and takes up almost no space. Once you start thinking of it as a leak protection pouch, not just a soap case, it suddenly becomes incredibly useful. Price-wise, it usually sits around $15, which honestly makes it even more impressive considering how versatile it is. For something that protects your gear, prevents leaks, and takes up almost no space, that's an easy one to justify. So, our 10th real travel essential is a simple travel towel. And I've talked about a lot of different travel towels before, but this one really stands out for me. I'm using the Nomadix Ultralight Travel Towel, and what I like most about it is how balanced it feels. It's lightweight, dries quickly, and actually feels good on your skin, which is something a lot of travel towels get wrong. I use it for everything: beach days, gyms, swimming pools, or even as an extra towel in places where you're not sure what you'll get. It packs down small, doesn't smell after a few uses, and just works. Price-wise, it usually sits around $40, which is more than basic microfiber towels, like the 4 Monster one I have used for more than a year, but the quality difference is noticeable. This is one of those items you buy once and end up using for years, and that's the goal for me. It's simple, reliable, and genuinely useful. Exactly what a real travel essential should be. Our next real travel essential is a packable tote bag, because no matter how minimal you travel, there's always that moment where you suddenly need more space. Groceries, laundry, souvenirs, or just a jacket you don't want to carry. I'm using the Peak Design Packable Tote, and what I really like about it is how clean and structured it feels for a packable bag. It doesn't feel like a flimsy emergency tote. It actually looks good, carries weight well, and is comfortable to use even when it's fully loaded. It packs down small, takes almost no space in your luggage, and becomes useful way more often than you'd expect, especially for city trips, grocery runs, or travel days where plans change. Price-wise, it usually sits around $25 to $30, which is fair for the build quality and design you're getting. And of course, a more budget-friendly option would be the nano bag, which is honestly just as good. and I personally use it even more. But since it was already in part 1, this time we're going with the Peak Design Tote. And last but not least, one of those essentials that quietly makes everything else better, compression packing cubes. I'm using the Thule compression packing cubes, and they've become a fixed part of my travel setup. I know packing cubes aren't exactly exciting, but compression cubes are a different story. They let you pack more while keeping everything organized, which is especially helpful when you're traveling with bulkier clothes or just want your bag to stay tidy. What I like about the Thule ones is the build quality. They're durable, compress properly without feeling flimsy, and still open and close smoothly even when fully packed. No broken zippers, no weird shapes, just clean functional design. And they're especially useful if you want to keep categories as separate. Shirts in one, pants in another, while still saving space. Once you get used to packing this way, it's hard to go back. And before you click away, don't go anywhere just yet. As always, I've got 4 bonus gadgets coming up next, and some of them are honestly my personal favorites from this entire video. But before we jump into the bonus gadgets, as many of you have already noticed, I recently launched a new review channel. The first 2 reviews are already live, and from now on there'll be at least 1 new review every week, whether it's backpacks, carry-ons, or even smaller gear like flashlights. If you enjoy more in-depth reviews and long-term testing, I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out and subscribed over there. It honestly means a lot and helps the channel grow. You'll find the link as the first link in the description or in the pinned comment. First bonus pick, small insulated travel cup. I'm using the Evervessel Mini, and this is one of those cozy little items that you don't really need, but once you have it, you don't want to travel without it. It keeps coffee or tea warm for hours, fits perfectly into a backpack side pocket, and is ideal for early travel mornings, train rides, or hotel rooms. I especially like it in colder seasons, when you just want something warm with you without carrying a full-size bottle. Price-wise, it usually sits around $30 to $35, and it's one of those simple comfort upgrades that makes travel days feel a bit nicer. Next, a portable door lock. I'm talking about the Adalock, and this one is all about peace of mind. It adds an extra layer of security to hotel or Airbnb doors, especially when you're traveling solo or staying in places you don't know well. It installs in seconds, doesn't require any tools, and works on most inward opening doors. At around $15 to $20, it's inexpensive, lightweight, and something you hopefully never need, but you'll be very glad to have it when you do. Third bonus gadget, a keychain flashlight. I'm using the Nightycore Tiny 3, and this thing is ridiculously powerful for its size. It's USB-C rechargeable, small enough to live on your keychain, and perfect for dark hotel rooms, night flights, finding things in your bag, or walking unfamiliar streets at night. Despite its size, the light output is more than enough for real-world travel situations. It usually costs around $25 to $30, and it's one of those tools that ends up being useful way more often than you'd expect. And finally, a collapsible travel bowl by Fossil. I know this one sounds niche, but it's surprisingly practical. I use it for snacks, breakfast, instant meals, or even groceries when I'm traveling. It folds flat, takes up almost no space, and is super easy to clean. At around $15, it's a small lightweight addition that works especially well for longer trips, road trips, or budget travel where you're not eating out all the time. So, if you want to see even more real travel essentials, you can check out the video on the left, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that right here on the right. And thanks again for the support this year, and the support on the review channel, and of course thanks a lot for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Safe travels, guys.